Hi friends, it's Chrissy. Like it's been a while since I've talked to you this way. I'm really pleased to be back here. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about my tarot practice, where it's been, where it is, where I hope it's going, and just honestly hoping that if I talk to you a little bit, that will bring some accountability to my practice. So I have really been out of touch with tarot. And honestly, a part of that is because I have been out of touch with everything for the last several months. And I'm feeling this sense of renewal, revival in myself that I am very excited about and want to make some momentum around. So I'm talking to you about it today. I just realized I don't have my rings on and I feel really naked, but I'm not going to get them and start over. So I decided several months ago to put most of my tarot decks in a closet. I mean, it's not really far. It's just like this door right here are where all of my tarot decks are currently living. And that works for me, most of my decks. I left, I think, a dozen out. And to be honest, even that felt a little, there was still a little bit of decision fatigue around that. So I have reduced my collection that is within reach, the collection I can get from this seat, to 5 decks. And I thought when I made this decision to reduce even further, part of it, yes, was about decision fatigue, but also part of it was I'm bringing a sixth in. I lied. I'm bringing in number 6. Um, I had number 6 like sitting as a potential, and it just said, yeah, come and get me. So yeah, so when I was choosing decks, I opened that closet door and I looked at what each deck represents. And that really informed my decision to keep the deck out or to put the deck away. And like I said, I had chosen 6 and then I whittled down to 5 because 5 seemed like, honestly, 5 seemed like a better number for a title of a video, but energetically, it's 6, and that's what it is. So, yeah, I looked at how the deck made me feel, what the deck represented for me. If I could boil like the feeling of the deck, the intention of the deck, to one word, what was it? And was that something that I felt I need in my practice right now? To me, and just some examples of decks that I didn't choose, just for some reference. To me, the Pagan Otherworlds is about lineage, and that is not what I am interested in right now. Not what feels the most pressing. Um, the be in your body, be with your body, to me is about somatic presence and somatic work and physical work. And that doesn't feel like where my energy is being pulled right now. The Depths Tarot, which I love so much, just felt too intangible for me right now. Kind of the same with tarot as color. So yeah, I really thought how the deck felt, and if that was something that I need right now today. And I have 6. Um, Again, I did not get rid of any decks. I don't plan to get rid of any decks. Not for a while. But yeah, these are the 6 that hung around. My plan for managing the energy. I'm going to show you the decks today. I'm going to put them in order and then I'm going to cleanse them in my kitchen with a simmer pot and a candle and probably some crystals, just to revive their presence in my practice. So yeah, let me switch to top down, and I'll show you the decks that I've chosen to work with for the time being. So the first deck I'm going to show you is one that I almost didn't include. This was the 6th. This was the maybe honorable mention, and this is the Linescapes Tarot. I don't see this one talked about a lot, but there was a time when this was the closest to what I had to a soul deck. And to me, this deck is about connection. This deck is not perfect. I do not like the back of the cards at all. In fact, I'm just going to do this. But this is the closest thing that I have seen to how Reiki shows up for me when I do what I call narrative alchemy sessions. They're reflections of the pictures, the scenes, the story that either I get from my client or myself. And this is very much the imagery of that. And this deck to me is about connection. This is how I connect with Reiki energy. This is visually, especially, I see the Northern Lights so often. This is how, the closest thing I've seen to a visual representation of how I connect with source, with myself, with others. I haven't used this deck much at all in the last year, and it wants to come back. It wants its voice to be heard again. I love this Two of Pentacles and this balance, the inhale and the exhale, the strength and the vulnerability. I love these different takes, but still such an obvious representation of the card. Here we have with the Six of Swords, and there's the rough water and the smooth water, and it's time to move from one to the other. And we still have the body of water. I do have the 2nd edition of this deck as well, with the Queen of Pentacles being a physical caretaker, and we have the nurse and the paramedic symbols, and it just means so much to me. I was going somewhere until the Queen of Pentacles got me all looped. Oh, I have the 2nd edition. But there was some of the change in the 2nd edition that I don't like as well. Like, I strongly prefer the full in this deck. This is a bonus card, which I love very much. So yeah, this is, what do I want to leave on top? I'll leave the star on top. This is the Linescapes Tarot, and this is in my practice for starting, here we are, the end of January 2024. So where the Linescapes Tarot represented connection for me, of course, tradition is another connection that feels really important to me right now, as I just became a Jin Shinjitsu practitioner. I'm looking at doing, hopefully, as long as I get in, Molly, let's make that happen. Looking at doing another Reiki training starting in the next month or so. So yeah, tradition is very important, and recognizing where my intuition, my individuality is important and valid, but I still want to make sure that I'm staying very connected to the tradition, to the roots of all of my practices. So of course I had to choose a Rider-Waite Smith, and the version that I really, really love is the 1907. We have the roses and lilies on the back. The reds are obnoxious and blown out, and but I love the red, the yellow, the really pale pea green kind of teal. that the pinks are just gradients of reds. I love this deck. I wish it was borderless, because I really love my Centennial. But another reason I love this deck too is the cardstock is so thin and it just shuffles. Oh, I could drool. It just shuffles so well. And the Page of Swords just has things to say today. Yeah, so here's the star again, as I consider the role of tradition in my practice. Look at this High Priestess. Yeah, the Rider-Waite-Smith 1907 is the version I'm using to represent tradition in my practice. The only oracle in my collection, my small collection, my capsule collection, is Dirt Gems. And I've had this deck for a while, and I haven't really connected to it, mainly because it feels so far out of my reach. But if you follow me on Instagram, I'm all about simmer pots right now. I am looking at doing a herbalism course as well. I'm growing plants. I've got some herbs, some additional herbs that I'm going to start as soon as my next, I ordered an arrow garden. As soon as it gets here, I will have 2 of herbs growing. I'll have chamomile and lavender and rosemary, thyme, basil, oregano, holy basil, oregano, sage, lots of herbs, lots of flowers that I can hopefully use for magic work and for cooking. And teas as well. And I'm intending for this deck to just be representative of that practice, to remind me of that connection, to carry with me to coffee shops and to hotels and on trips, to remind me of the work that is going on in my home. A lot of these herbs, a lot of these flowers, a lot of these plants are ones that I will not necessarily have access to use in my practice, and that's okay. I saw black walnut earlier, and I do not like walnuts. So like that will not be a part of my practice. I love this card. It has such a shaker vibe to me. So yeah, the only oracle in my set, did I even say that what this represents me? This represents curiosity. And being okay with not knowing everything, being okay with being a beginner, with having that beginner's mind. So the deck in my practice that represents curiosity is Dirt Gems. And here's the back. And of course, I could not leave out my deck. This is the Narrative Alchemy Tarot. And to me, what this represents to me is intuition. Having a connection with myself that is unbreakable. That is trusting this connection with myself, creating this deck, publishing this deck, selling it, first of all, from out of my own home and then on Make Playing Cards, was a big, vulnerable, scary risk for me. So having these, I will never get tired of seeing this deck in your practice. I don't know that I will ever not tear up when I see this deck in your practice. It means the world to me. And the fact that it resonates with anyone out there is just beyond. So yeah, the deck that I'm going to be working with for the foreseeable future that represents myself and my own intuition, my connection, and my trust to my intuition is the deck that I created, the Narrative Alchemy Tarot. And I feel like the last two decks, in addition to the one I just showed you to my deck, are the two decks that I hope that people think about when they think about me and the decks that I love. And the next represents mystery, because I love it, but I don't get it. And I will say that over and over. And this is the Tarot of the Drowning World. I hear that? Like, I pull it out and I am speechless. It is beautiful and it is horrifying and it is true and it is challenging, and it reads me to absolute filth on a regular basis. I don't like the reptiles. I don't like the dead fish. I don't like the dead lambs. She reminds me of my babysitter when I was a kid. She reminds me of Sherry Mockabee. I'm silent because I don't know. I don't know. But I know, oh, I guess I decided at one point to start flipping them over, didn't I? If I were to save a deck, if I were to save three decks, from Burning Building, if I were going to take 3 decks on any trip, it would be the Narrative Alchemy, this one, and the next one I'm going to show you. It is just, it takes my breath away. And it is a mystery to me. So, yeah, the deck that feels mystery, that invites me in to mystery, that allows me to go to the scary places and trust that I'll find answers there, trust that I'll be okay, trust that it's worth it. I love this card. I'll leave it on top. Is the Tarot of the Drowning World. And finally, the deck that to me speaks of liberation is Gardens and Goblins. When I bought this deck, it made no sense. I am not a gamer. At the time, I wasn't a plant person. I think I am now. I'm getting there. I actually think I have this plant, this succulent, on in my kitchen window. I hadn't noticed that before. But the story behind this deck is, so this is what happens when the warriors are gone, when all that is left are the native plants and the native monsters, when everything that doesn't belong is gone, when the captors move away, when the dungeons can grow back to their original state, when everything that isn't native disappears, retreats. This is the beauty that comes out of regeneration. This is liberation. This is what happens. How I bring this to a personal level is this is what is possible when I get out of my own way, when I remove my own, when I step out of my savior complex of my own life and instead just live it. When I let what is going to be without worrying about what it should be. When the inner voice, the inner bully shuts up, when I kick him out, this is what's left. This is what can grow. This deck is about liberation. and I love it so much. I have her as a sticker on my water bottle. But it still has such a strong Rider-Waite Smith feel. I mean, it's not hard at all to see it if you look for it. And I love this deck. So yeah, this is Gardens and Goblins, and this is my deck for Liberation. This simmer pot could clear any stagnant energy, but I'm focusing it today on my tarot decks. I started with some water from my sink, and then full moon water from earlier this week. I added grapefruit to release chatter and confusion, lime to remove stagnation, sage for purification, rosemary to connect to intuition, eucalyptus to invite in some fresh energy, calendula for confidence and strength, honey for sweetness, and salt